Susan, what an immense pleasure. It's Susan Cadogan, the legendary.
Oh gosh.
Amazing.
Please.
No, it is true. You know,
Thank you.
You've brightened up so many, enhanced so many people's lives with your music, certainly mine.
Well, I'm glad
Age.
I've been able to do that. I've been told that many times and warms my heart.
Well,
and I'm glad about it.
You've not lost any of your talent, I can tell you that. So tell it, why are you in the UK?
Well, despite everything and time passing and age catching up with me, I still get quite a few show offers. So I came, and last Saturday I was at the 100 Club. You know, I didn't know it was so famous, but I had a really nice show there, and I had to go to Germany. I've been to Germany, and I have a couple more to do. Because, you know, this year is 50 years since I sang Hurt So Good. So I fixed up a little celebration for myself. You know, I've always done everything for myself. So that's why I'm here.
Well, it's fantastic seeing you again.
Yes.
It's been a long time since Keisha.
Yeah, I think I saw you last at a Christmas party
It
that
was.
Trojan had. Must be 2018, 19. Bonnie Lee was still alive.
It was.
Can't remember.
And
he
Bobby
was
Davis.
there.
Bobby Davis was there too, wasn't he?
Okay.
Yeah, very sad. So I hope you don't mind, but for our hopefully many listeners of yours, it would be nice to sort of talk about you know how you began, where you started, your upbringing. So if you wouldn't mind, could you I know you must have done this 1,001 times before, but even so, could you perhaps just tell us a little bit, you know, originally where you grew up and how you got into music?
Yes, well, I was born in 1951, Crossroads in Jamaica, but my father was from Belize. You know, he was a Methodist minister. He came to Jamaica, met my mother, and took her back to Belize. But every time she had a baby, she'd come back to Jamaica to have the baby, because Belize was sort of not as medically advanced. And so I thought. So my mother was a singer. In fact, most of the members of my family can sing or play an instrument. So she was always singing. So as I grew up, I was in the choir of the church that Daddy, you know. And I had a brother come 11 years after me. And I think that was the first time I really appreciated music and melodies and hearing my mother sing him to sleep. And I used to do it too, because he was 11 years my junior, sing these beautiful Negro spirituals and stuff. By the time, my sister loved to sing too and dance, and she used to play records, and I got into it. So I started, my first love of anything was the Platters. Only You and Twilight Time and Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and I used to pretend to sing it. You know, I put on, that time you had the stereo, put on the record and I'd sing along. And so I just came to love music, and I found I had this, I didn't think I was going to be a singer. I just loved the music. But that's how I started off. And eventually, I was quite chubby as a child. Well, I still think I'm chubby. I'll never get over feeling I'm fat, you know. It stays with you.
I know, I used to be, not that we're talking about, but yeah, I used to be.
Yeah, that's why I used to always wear black. These days, if I put on colors, people say, oh, you're not in black. But anyway, so when I started working at University Library, I never really had a calling. You know, like my brother knew he wanted to be a doctor. My other brother knew he wanted to be a vet, or you know, he wanted to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be anything. And I say quite honestly, the day I left school was the happiest day of my life. I didn't like it. All I liked was literature. I used to like to read and words and stuff like that. And I was very good at English language. I got 2 distinctions, GCA, for language and literature. So at my job now, when I went to high school first, I went to a co-ed, Excelsior, and I became self-conscious because boys were there. So in the evenings, I used to put on the music I loved, pretend to be on stage, sing and sweat and dance, and every evening I did it, and the pounds just melted off. So, and I used to eat pure grapefruit. So I made myself slim. And so everybody knew I liked to sing. Because the neighbors, everybody could hear me at night, you know. Heavenly Shades are the Supremes, you know, baby, baby. I go through the whole record, like 2 hours every night. And my friend, Teresa Bryan, my best friend of 62 years, her boyfriend, they used to work at the Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation together, and her boyfriend was a DJ there, and Teresa could sing too. So he asked her to sing this song he had written, this song called Love My Life. That was the very first song I ever sung. So he took us to the studio. She said, no, let Anne sing it. Oh, Anne is my real name. They call me Anne at home. I'm Alison Anne. And so he took us to the studio and he said, okay, 2 of you sing it, would do us to be a duet. So I went in, met this little man, went into the studio, put on the headphones and thing, and when the music started, she just, so I just said, ooh, 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 and I sung the song. I was so happy. Yeah. I said, my gosh, I'm in the studio singing. You know, so after I sang that song, now we went back into what you call the control room. And out came this gentleman. I didn't know he was Lee Perry. I didn't know where I was. Right. But I was at the Black Ark. And it was Lee Perry.
Was that Jerry Lewis? Was it?
Jerry Lewis took me there to record. I didn't know it was the Black Ark or who Lee Perry was or anything. Because in those days I was more into soul music and Motown. I really didn't know a lot of reggae and thing. So, and he met me on the stairs coming down and he said, wow, I love your voice, you know. So he turned around to Jerry and said, Jerry, let me sing her. You know, he said, you know this song? So because I loved all the soul music, I knew her so good. And it was heard so good. So he played it for me and said, you think you can sing this? And I said, yeah, man, I know it. So he said, okay. Went back into the studio and I laid a track to Hurt So Good. And he put on, he said, yeah, man, that's it, sing it again. I sang it again. And when I came out, he said, boy, I love your voice, you know, you have a sexy voice. What's your name? So I said, I'm Anne Cadogan. And he said, Anne? No, sir. You mean Susan? Because that is sexy, because you have a sexy voice, girl. And that's how I sang Hurt So Good. And he said he really liked my voice. I think he had another voice on the track. But he said this was the song he was looking for, right? And he gave me some old cassettes. He said, you want to sing some more songs to me, you know? I said, my life, and Jerry put on his xylophone and stuff and left there quite pleased with myself. Yeah. I didn't have an idea or a clue.
So was it ever, you know, that because the original Trojan master tape for the album is Sexy Susan. That's what
he said he was going to call the album. And I see it in a picture, Sexy Susan or Sexy Susie, he used to call me. And then there's some called Hurt So Good and some called Susan Cadogan. But I think it's on so many labels, I don't know what is what. But that's what he said he was going to call the album.
Yeah. And so everything, literally, was it at those subsequent sessions that you did for Perry? Well, that's what made up the album.
That album.
Yeah.
These tapes, and the tapes, some of them aren't very clear. You know, so I sing a lot of wrong lyrics in the songs, and Perry had a way. I'd sing the song twice, and he just bashed the two voices together. Right. Sometimes they weren't even. And in the end, I didn't really finish singing everything for him. I didn't complete it when I got this call that I had to come to London. So I said, come to London, because it didn't occur to me, you know, what was going on, that the record was being put out. I know Love My Life came out, because I used to hear it on the radio in the morning. Every morning, 6:10, this DJ used to play Love My Life. Alan Magnus. He died the other day, and he used to say, I don't know who you are, but you sing like a bird.
Yeah.
You know, it came out as Anne Cadogan. So anyway, they called me and I said, but come to London for what? Right? So I said, what about Mr. Perry? I used to call him Mr. Perry. You know, he was very pleased with that because he used to tell all the musicians and the other artists that hang around the studio, you hear what you call me? Mr. Perry. I say, you must leave my artist alone. He treated me very nicely, with a lot of respect and thing. And some people even had the audacity to ask me if I had something with Lee Perry. Oh, please. You know, a lot of singers get involved with the producers and stuff. But he used to warn me. I remember he told me, don't get involved with anybody to be the end of your career. It's going to mess up your career. So he used to tell them, there's Glenn Adams, Jimmy Riley, Family Man, Bonnie Ruggs, you know, Ben, all them hanging around. But then he used to send Glenn to take me home and pick me up. Right?
Yeah.
So Glenn and myself started going out and he didn't know.
Really?
You know, but yeah, Glenn and myself were very friendly.
No, so Glenn Adams was playing. Was he also playing on the sessions?
Well, most of the songs, all of the songs he gave me, the tracks were already recorded. The only song that was recorded fresh was Do It Baby, Nice and Easy.
Yeah.
But I asked him if I could sing it. So I was there when they laid that track, but the tracks were done already.
Right.
But my uncle, who was a lawyer, said to me, how are you going singing these songs? I said, man, what is the arrangement? What's the position? So it didn't occur. So I went and I said, you know, my uncle says what's going on. So I remember one day I came, he brought his wife, or Pauline, her name was, with some papers, and he walked up and down with his hands behind his back, you know, read it to her. And he said something about, you know, I honestly don't remember, but I think he gave me like 100, I don't know. Some little thing like that I remember, but it didn't occur to me. I was just so happy singing these things and hearing back myself like what I heard on my stereo. So when they called me, I said, but what happened to Mr. Perry? Oh, he's coming too. So if, you know, you can't go back, but thinking back, honestly, I don't know how I just flew out into nothing like that.
Yeah.
My sister said, tell them you need to bring me with you so somebody would go with me. But they sent the ticket and I flew out because they said I had to come because I had to go on TV.
So who is it that
I think it's Dennis Harris called me first, but afterwards Magnet called me.
Right.
Because I was not responding, saying I would come. And kind of, you know, made it that I had to come. This was something happening with the record. So I said to my brother, you know, Hurt So Good is going on some chart in England and I have to go. So got ready, zipped out, and my aunt with whom I lived said the day after I left, Lee Perry came to the house, looked for me. And when he heard I had gone, he burned some tires out of that yard. She said he was vexed.
Really?
You know, but anyway.
So what age were you then?
I'd just turned 23.
Wow.
I was born in November, and this was at the beginning of April of the following year.
Had you never been to England before?
No. And Dennis Harris met me with his, I don't know if it was his wife or what. And amazingly, her little daughter, who came back into my life, was with 40 odd years later. And this fur coat and zoom into Holiday Inn and zoom, and I was just Anne.
Right. Yeah.
I did turn into Susan.
No.
I don't think I really became Susan until recently.
Right.
You know, when I picked up, you know, I always kept my down to earth, you know, because Magnet had a hard time with me trying to go on like a star.
Right. So who was it at Magnet Records that was it Pete Waterman?
Pete Waterman, and I remember Barry Johnson was the PR, and of course Michael Levy I always remember the day they took me into Magnet. He didn't hold his hand like this to shake. He used to hold his hand down to show his fabulous pinky ring, Michael Levy, you know. And I sat down and they talked and talked, everybody talked, and they walked around me and inspected me. And they said, but, you know, she's a pretty girl. You know, they respected me. But I came with a low afro, it was the fashion now. And they said, but the hair, I didn't even realize they were examining me to turn me into this person to go on TV, you know. I said, but see here, you know. Because, anyway, so I went back to Holiday Inn. I lived at Holiday Inn for 3 months, Marble Arch. And these little men came and measured me and sticked me up and thing. And this big sexy car came and took me to Top of the Pops a few days later. In they came with this hideous red jumpsuit. I didn't know what they were going to make, you know. That's the thing I have on YouTube in the Top of the Pops thing. With a big hole here with my navel showing.
I must admit, though, I know, perhaps I shouldn't say, but you look fabulous in it. I mean, you
I
might
think it was awful.
Really?
And I was so upset. I said, I'm not wearing nothing with my navel showing. And here was open too, with a little bosom. So they had to get a brooch, and these ladies came and stitched in the thing. It was, honestly, you know. But, and they tried to get, I remember they got some girls to choreograph me. I couldn't see, because when I'm 11, I'm short-sighted. So I had thick glasses. I think that's why I read in a book I read that Peter Waterman wrote in his book that I had a glass eye and was bald. When I came, I had a low curly afro and I wore glasses because I was short-sighted.
Yeah.
That's what he put. Because Peter and me, in the beginning, he was everywhere with me. But I don't think we really took tea well.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't think I was fabulous enough for him that he wanted to be, but he but he heard Hurt So Good and thought it had potential and brought it to the attention of Magnet.
Yeah.
And Magnet made some deal with DIP and bought it out. So they brought me over and they really looked after me well. They clothed me in all these fabulous. I used to go shopping with Pete Waterman down Knightsbridge and all these fabulous stores and buy all these gowns. And he was upset because I couldn't find shoes because my feet were big and I wore, you know. And then he was so, we used to, with this big mop of curly hair and stuff. You know, but he was at every Top of the Pops. And I remember the first one, he came in and he said, diabolical was his favorite word. Who is diabolical? Pleasing whatever. It's the English kind of cockney thing.
Yeah.
Sue sold 30,000 today. Hurt So Good, man. Everybody, you know, at the office. I think they had Junior Biles, curly locks too.
Yes.
But I don't think he ever came over or did anything.
No.
I don't know. But Alvin Stardust and what's that, Guys and Dolls and Peter Shelley, I remember. Like 3 of us were on Top of the Pops first time.
Yeah.
But anyway, I couldn't see when I was recording. In the morning they took me and I had to record a fresh Hurt So Good with the BBC band.
Right.
So that, I think it's for copyright or whatever. So, and then now in the evening we go on your mind to what you record in the morning.
Right.
So I couldn't see, but they fixed me up. I remember I was in the dressing room with 3 Degrees because they had a song. I don't know if it's Take Good Care of Yourself or one of those songs. But they were very hoity-toity.
Were they?
Yes.
Wow.
They didn't really, you know, because I said, you know what I mean? You know, I'm a black person, you know.
Yeah.
But they were very hoity-toity and
That's
tush in their fabulous gowns. Because I've never been I wearing all these gowns and tight thing. I'm a very low-key person. I like to feel comfortable when I'm singing.
Right.
Right? And I don't like a lot of makeup and jewelry. And I was very pleased that the makeup artist in the dressing room said, oh, she doesn't need much. I didn't need lashes. I didn't need anything.
No.
They just barely put on anything on me. But they put some big earrings. Oh, I hated those things. And when I was singing, every time, you know, because I'm very kind of, and it's something that comes natural to me.
Yeah.
I move a lot when I'm singing.
So you're like self-conscious with all this stuff on.
When I used to come, the earring would come. You know, this blinking earring, you know, because I always admired Shirley Bassey. And I think I pick up a lot of, when I'm performing live, the dramatic way that she goes on, I like it.
Yeah.
And so I move a lot when I sing. So when they brought these two young girls to choreograph me singing Hurt So Good, you know, I said, but they're not dancing reggae. You know? I said, I think you better leave me alone. Let me just sing the song because I'm not going to remember. And it's going to distract me trying to remember when I'm trying to. But I was very shy. And I noticed in the video, I hold on my head and bite my lip. And I was very I've always been self-conscious. So
I would never have thought, because all those, you know, all those photos, the promo photos that they took when you were over here, you know, look very, very self-confident and glamorous. And I would never have thought.
I remember when they set up that photo shoot in the red thing and, you know, they say, oh, I'm sultry and things. So I don't know, it just come out that way. I think I take good pictures, that's all.
No.
You know, but it's still nice. Honestly, when I look back and see those things, I say, wow, that's me. Honestly, you know.
Well, you still look
from then to now, 50 years.
It's amazing. Amazing that it's been that time. So you obviously you did some more singles with Magnet and the album Love Me Baby, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, the songs I did for Scratch, for Lee Perry, he had the song called Congratulations Baby that he said he wanted to be the follow-up to Hurt So Good.
Right.
But then, well, with the ensuing controversy over who owned Hurt So Good, you know?
Yeah.
Because it seems like Perry was a Trojan artist and whatever belonged to Perry belonged to Trojan. And they sold out the thing to Magnet, who thought they owned it. So when it was found out they didn't, they let Pete Waterman produce Love Me Baby as a follow-up.
Yeah.
So you can hear the kind of distinct difference between the music. Love Me Baby always says my la-di-da song, you know? Da-di-da-da-da-da. You know, it's too pretty.
It's very pretty.
Yeah. Hurt So Good is pretty too, you know, but the lyrics and the
some things on all the Magnet things.
well, that's another thing too, because that really kind of shows, to me, fits my voice better. But that and the way I sang, for him to put it on those rhythms made the sound he wanted.
Yeah.
But with Pete Waterman now, he had a whole orchestra. When I went into the studio, a whole orchestra, violins and everybody there. It was really funny to me.
Yeah.
You know, we used to clash in the studio to record a whole album for him. And he said, oh, doing it her way. I wouldn't do this and I wouldn't sing that. And I gave Pete pure trouble. Wow. I remember we went to Tony King, who did the arrangement and stuff. And we spent days in the studio. Yeah. So I remember.
What studio was that? Wasn't Chalk Farm? It wouldn't have been.
I'm wondering if it was that. Because that name is very familiar to me. You know? Yeah. But I remember we used to go every morning and he'd come in, everybody set up on things, say, they arranged, come on, lads, we're going to play Imagine to reggae. And everybody started to bounce. To get
The musicians, were they like regular English musicians, or did you have like Cimarrons or anyone?
No.
So,
English musicians. And the orchestra, the violins and things, they say, some people say sophisticated reggae. They'd say I'm singing romantic, sophisticated reggae. And during the year, singing for other producers, I used to wonder, I just do not have a real rootsy kind of, like Ken Booth and Alton Ellis and Marcia, they have this string of Jamaican feeling music. Mine just sounds different. So it was Neil Fraser who said to me, you know what it is? You have such an influence from the soul. You sing, I call you soulful reggae. So that's what I think was the soulful reggae.
Yeah. And your stuff, I mean, early recordings, I mean, even the Love Me Baby, which I must admit, for a different reason, but I love that album as well, the Magnet stuff. I know a lot of people like...
A lot of people do.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different type of music to scratch, Perry's stuff. But then after Magnet, before, Mad Professor, what happened? You went back to Jamaica after Magnet?
Well, I was here for 9 months. Must have had a baby, but I know it's 9 months, And Magnet, I came on a holiday and I got a flat for me, and I started singing cabaret at Bailey's clubs, Bailey's of Watford, Bailey's of wherever, and I remember the night I saw my name in these big neon signs going round, Susan Cadogan, Queen of Reggae, and a big paper mache of me in the foyer. And I used to sing every night at 1 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Till it got to me,
Yeah.
And I was supposed to get £1,000 a week. And the first money I got was 200 and something. So I said to what's his name, Peter something, what happened to all the money? He had spent it on the band and everything, clothes for the band, cigarette, foods, everything I paid for. And that's what was left. So I tell him I can't bother with this.
No.
So I stopped it, and they say, oh, Susan, you're homesick. One day I opened my flat door and there they were with my mother. They flew over Mummy and I had a nice little time. So the advance I got from Magnet, when it finished, I just went home. I went back to the library, they gave me back my job, and by the time I could work 2 weeks, Susan, you have to come back to London, And I resigned 4 times from the library to do singing. And while I was in Jamaica, this producer, Owen Brown, I recorded Take a Little Piece of My Heart, Tracks of My Tears, and Don't Know Why for him. And I was Female Artist of the Year in 81. But apart from that, Jamaica on a whole, I don't think they really remember, although I was in the newspapers and stuff, 'cause I don't have this string of Jamaican music. I came over, started recording for Pete, I recorded for Mad Professor, I recorded for Hawkeye, Roy Forbes Island. Even though it was recorded in Jamaica, it was let out over here. So I kind of don't even know where I belong.
Yeah. Well, it was obviously...
I'm a Jamaican in London.
Yeah. But because, I mean, especially the early material had a huge influence with the whole Lovers Rock scene.
Yes,
didn't it?
You
It was
Know How
massive.
to Make Me Feel So Good.
Yeah.
It was like #1 for 8 weeks. And yet, the Lovers Rock world of London don't feel I'm a part because I'm not British. Right? And to me, some of Perry's things were Lovers Rock. It's just that Jamaica didn't name it Lovers Rock.
Yes.
It was just the beat changed from ska to rock steady, then the reggae came in, and up to now, I don't know what Hurt So Good is. It's a weird blend of reggae and I don't know what it is.
Soulful reggae, like you said,
Probably, but the Lovers Rock, You Know How to Make Me Feel So Good. I think Virgin picked it up and it went up in the BBC charts too. And they called me, just like how they called me for Hurt So Good. So because of what happened with Hurt So Good, I said, I'm not coming. So I say, my lawyer said you have to put £50,000 in my account and I will come. I remember that was so funny, but I really didn't want to go.
No. No.
So I don't know what ever happened to that, but it was very popular. And up to this date, a lot of people prefer You Know How to Make Me Feel So Good to Hurt So Good.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. They're both amazing records, obviously.
And with Roddy Thomas, too. Sadly, he passed away, but I did quite a few duets with Roddy.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah, about 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I even did an album for Roddy it was for Creole Records that I think you have it now.
Yeah, we've just released it digitally to coincide with your visit. So and it sounds great.
I saw it. Even the Uptown Top ranking.
Well, I know you're not. That's not one of your favourites.
I know it's awful, but I sing it on my live shows. You know.
Yeah, no, a lot of people love it. I mean, you know, I know you feel that way, but you know, a lot of people.
Because I really go into my Jamaica thing, and most of my songs are soft and romantic, so I don't have lively music. So when I'm doing my set list, I put in I'm Still in Love, which is the same, you know, mix it up with Uptown Top ranking.
Yeah.
Because Alfie and Donna don't really tour or stuff. No. And neither Marcia Eakin, you know. No. I sing that, and I also sing Feel Like Jumping, you know, to lively up. Yeah. But then I hear a lot of singers sing Hurt So Good too. Yeah. So that was very... Yeah. It just was really didn't know. Yes. And like even Holly Cook singing Hurt So Good. So I said, Hurt So Good must be something. Yeah. You know? That's
a great record. So then going back, so you mentioned Mad Professor earlier, Neil Fraser. So how did you come to sort of record for him?
After a while of being just not making anything, nobody ever paid me. My brother our own record. So we went into the studio with Chalice, and so we even used slide down bar and thing, and we made this record, Chemistry of Love.
Yes.
So trying to get it out there. The music business, people don't understand it easily. If you don't know it, leave it alone. It takes a lot. If you don't know what you're doing, so I was meddling, trying to produce myself in an industry I didn't know about. Make the record fine. What to do with the record is the next thing.
Yes.
To get it out there. So we found this company in Jamaica, Sonic Sounds. I don't know what they did, but I see the record. It was even on eBay for £500, and I don't know how to get it. The record just was taken away from me. I don't know what happened, but I know I had to pay. I'm being quite open and honest.
Yeah.
Pay and buy liquor and give to radio stations to get airplay and thing and put it here, get label and thing. I say, you know what? I can't bother with this. So I don't know what happened to Chemistry of Love for many years. Until recently I got an album released and they put Chemistry of Love as a double thing to have it out there legally in a way. But I've never earned from it either. So when I came to London in 91, with the album, I took it, somebody told me about Mad Professor. I think it's Gladdy Wax, you know, that DJ.
Yeah.
And I went to him with me and Glenn. Glenn went with me. But he said, oh, it's a nice record and thing, but he wanted to make his own stuff. Right? He didn't want to kind of make a deal for my Chemistry of Love. No. He wanted to make his own music. So with that, I signed a contract with him and made this album, Soulful Reggae, which has on some tracks that I hate. I hate everything I sing, you know.
Really? It's a great album.
No, sir. When I sang Band of Gold, Mad Professor loved to drink brandy and blackcurrant, something like that. And I can't drink. When I drank and sang Band of Gold, I don't know. You know, Band of Gold, I used to love Frida Payne, but I still want to record the song Deeper and Deeper by Frida Payne, you know.
Lovely song.
Some songs I just love. People criticize and say, oh, you should write your own music and thing. I can and I do, because lyrics come easily to me. But I believe if I like a song, singing people's songs, that's why they wrote them. The music is to be sung. Yeah. Don't criticize me for doing covers. No. You know, but that's what Jamaicans did. As a big hit record came out, every producer run to the studio to do a version.
Yeah.
Right? To see who come in. That's what happened to Hurt So Good.
No, right.
Right?
Right.
'Cause it was on another label with another lady, and they paid more. So hers was played in Jamaica, not mine.
Wow.
But then mine broke out over here. So all's well that ends well.
Yeah. Well, it is fab. So since Mad Prophet, well, you've worked with them obviously more recently as well.
Yes. He let out Soulful Reggae. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Later on, I did Two Sides of Susan.
Yes.
He said he wanted to record again.
Yeah.
And I remember he put me up in his flat. He said he had to go away for some work, and he gave me some tracks and say, I must write. You know, and I wrote a lot of songs for that album. And some of them, well, to me, they're the better songs on the album.
Yeah, that's very good.
You know?
Yeah.
Most of them are like my first take. When I'm recording, my first take, you get it. Because the more I sing, the worse I sing. I believe when you feel you haven't sound good and you're trying too hard to sing it, and it spoils.
Yeah.
So when I sing it the first time, that is when I'm singing it my best. If I do go off, just fix that little part, but don't take away the mood that I've got myself into, especially for a song that I have written.
Yeah.
That's what Perry did. And I told my professor, Lee Perry, never ever stop me and say, Susan, you're gone off or this, you know? Even with the mistakes,
Yes.
he still made the music that he did.
Yeah.
And nobody, no other album, I've done like 14 albums to date,
Yeah.
can get back that sound that Lee Perry did.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Wonderful.
I get ideas. Sometimes I sleep and I say, wow, I hear Love Story as a duet. And I wanted Ken to sing it with me. And I told my friend, Wayne Armand, from Chalice Band,
Yes.
you know, and I played it for him. And I forgot all about it. And one day he called me and said, Susie, come and listen to this. And he had laid this beautiful track for Love Story.
Yeah.
I went round to Ken's house. I said, Ken, listen to this. You can sing it with me? He said, that sounds nice, man. Okay, let us sing it. I said, you want to listen? He said, no, I don't want to listen to the original. Just play the music. So right around at Ken Booth's house, we recorded this duet, Love Story, that came out so nice. Everybody loves it.
You've had your fair share of
Yeah, you know,
ailments, which doesn't help.
nothing in life, nobody's life can be all a bowl of cherries and all perfect.
No.
You know, so you're going along, everything is fine, you know, and say, this one, hold that, you know. Bop a little pain, arthritis, it runs in my family. You know, the first thing was the back, then the knee, you know. So I've dealt with it and I've learned to live with my limitations, although it's so frustrating because I wish I could jump and prance. But still, I have realized that I can dance just as well on a bar stool.
Yeah, well, your shows by all accounts are still fantastic. So you might be more static now, but you know, you've not lost any of your talent.
I don't know what it is. I remember this fortune teller telling me that I have a kind of commanding presence, so that sometimes people, she said, people are drawn to you.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it's like when I have an audience, I get a rapport and they listen to everything I say.
Yeah.
So I use it to kind of really be honest and open about life and love and the music and stuff, and they just listen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, it's compelling. It is. It's your character shining through on stage.
Got it from my father, real chatterbox I am. But and Hurt So Good. You know, they always ask me what I mean by Hurt So Good. Well, just last year I actually spoke with Philip Mitchell, who wrote Hurt So Good.
Right.
I didn't know who he was, and he was 78. He's tall and handsome, and I got this notion in my head. I said, oh my God, suppose I ever got in love and fell in love and had an affair with the person who wrote Hurt So Good.
That would be a
and
story.
we used to talk on the phone and everything,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, he has more songs and stuff like that, but he said he's too old now, you know, so.
What a shame. Great songwriter, because he wrote loads of stuff.
And he sings.
Really?
Yeah, I saw they had something, he was at somebody's wedding and sang At Last or something. He still sings well.
Wow, wow.
You know, but I have this little girl voice. I don't know. Even when I'm speaking now.
You have a lovely voice.
I have a little girl voice.
No, you don't have a little girl voice.
A young voice then. You know, I don't sound like somebody who's 72. You know.
Wow, it's incredible to think. So how long now are you're in the UK, you've got some gigs, so you're going to Europe, you're going to do...
I went to Germany and came back, and I'm going to do a little thing in Birmingham tonight for my good friend the Fire Band. They back me a lot. Right. So they've got kind of to know my set. You know, I wish I was like a Toots or a Jimmy Cliff and have your own band. So you just get tight. Yeah. You know, I love to watch like Toots work. When he come like that, the band, boom, you know, they know you. Yeah. When I'm getting like that with Friendly Fire to call it back me. And I'm coming back September. I have a show in Nottingham. And then I'm doing Scarborough and Skamouth. I'm doing Pizza Express. I'm going Oxford, Glasgow. Wow. You know, I'm going back to Italy, Switzerland. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to give it my best shot because I feel like this is my last hurrah. Because if the other knee...
that goes.
You know?
Well, hopefully it's not your...
It's so frustrating that your brain says, go.
Yeah, yeah.
And the knee say no.
Well, hopefully it won't. And you will be back. But there's even more reason to catch you while we can.
Yeah, there? And I got a beautiful walking stick, you know, with a big diamante on top, you know. Yeah. I use it to sing. Yeah. I should have brought it today instead of this old one.
Well, that's a good one.
So I don't go on the stage with it, you know, because I don't know what it is that happens. Something takes over me when I hear the music and the crowd and thing. Because the last time I did International Ska Festival, and my friend was with me, and he said, Susan, you are so miserable. I say, you want water? No. You want your walking stick? No. You were climbing the stairs. I have to go 1 foot at a time. And you were so annoyed at everything. But when the man said Susan Cadogan and the drum hit, you just... and stepped out. He said the transformation was amazing. Yeah. And that was my first show since COVID and my big surgery. Yeah. And I was anxious, you know? Yeah, yeah. But as you hear the music, especially the drummer, I love drums, you know? They're very important to me in my set. That when I go bam, the drum go bam. I call it pie. You know? So go pie, go on. And there's a big drum at the beginning of the second verse of Hurt So Good. If I don't get it, it spoils my song. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I love the drums. In fact, one time, Peter Waterman called me back to London to record again for them with this guy, Peter Ashfield. And time passed, and I recorded a whole album to drum and bass. I don't know where it is. Really? But it had on, Magnet Records should have it. It had on some nice songs. Even a version of Bob Marley's There You Are, Crying Again, But Your Love. It has on another song called The Magician, some nice song. I have a tape of it. Wow. Drum and bass. And Pete says, Susan, I don't know how you sing without some melody line. Yeah. But I don't know whatever happened to that.
Oh, that's crying out to be re-released. Well, not re-released, released.
I don't think it was ever finished. No.
Yeah, thanks for coming with seeing Keisha and I. It's been a huge pleasure, and for having the paper and the team, of course, the Greenhouse team.
Greenhouse.
Yeah, Greenhouse. They're lovely folk. So thank you again. well, we'll have to talk after the interview. Yeah. So again, good luck on the rest of the tour, and
thank you
hopefully
so
there's
much.
many more. I know, God willing, you know, your knee won't give out, and we'll see more of you. But obviously now's the time to catch you on stage, because you never know, this could be the last tour, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's not as I don't want to, you know, but I really believe that if I can't do it as nicely as I'd want, I prefer not to do it at all. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. Like this guy cried when he saw me in Germany. He cried. And he was crying tears because he was actually meeting me. He said, "You don't know what your song is to skinheads. I can't believe I'm touching you." And he cried, you know, and somebody cried to see him at International Ska Festival. But I don't want it to be tears of, "Oh my God, look at Susan." That was, you know? So if I cannot give my best, I don't want somebody to start ridiculing me. Like, the people are wicked. They forget what you were, you know. They're ridiculing Rod Stewart. They're ridiculing Smokey Robinson. I mean, leave people alone. Let us get on with our lives.
Yes.
You know, you're going to get old too. You know what I mean?
You said to me, I'm going to get
No,
old.
I said, I mean, the people. I'm talking in general,
I'm
you
never
know.
going to get old. I'm always going to be young.
But that's how I feel, you know. It's just that I do things slower.
Yeah, no. Well, you still, as I say, you still sound great. You've not lost it. You know, you haven't been carried away by your fame and success. You know, it's which is so rare, as you say.
And sometimes the band say they are amazed that after 50 years, I still sing every song in the same key.
Wow, that is something.
Do It Baby is a bit of a strain, but I did it.
Yeah, that's a high one.
You know?
Yeah.
I remember Mommy saying, think of it in your head and it will come out of your mouth. So I know a lot of artists have to drop their key after a while.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it changes the feel of the song. So
Totally.
I try, you know.
No, it's fantastic. I sing and my voice is, I used to be a tenor, now I'm a baritone.
Well, I used to be contralto, and they say that really I started off this high singing over here in London. Because some people tell me hurt so good it's pretty high.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so.
And do it.
And it's not falsetto. That's how I sing.
Yeah. You have a lovely voice, Susan. Lovely
So
voice.
they say, and I don't understand why. Because, I mean, I'm not a belter, you know.
No,
As
well,
people tell
soulful.
people, I don't shatter glass. These days, people, if you don't scream and shout,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
it's the thing now to be able to, even if it makes sense or not. I hate screaming singing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Exactly, it's because it's not really soulful. It's
Yeah,
just,
I mean,
it's
if you're
technically
singing
great.
and you hit, like Celine Dion singing, don't want to be by myself. And when she hit that note, she's hitting it musically and with her voice. She's not just, hey, you know? They have some singers just make a big noise just to show.
Yeah.
And they've ruined their voices.
Yeah.
You know, they can't sing anymore. Those singers who used to scream and shout.
Yes.
Anyway.
We better say farewell. All I can say to everyone else is it's been mad to miss you here or in September when you come
Yeah,
over.
man, when I come back in September, I have a lot of shows and I'm going to go and rest up. And I'm going to California for the first time in August. With Stranger Cold and Rudy Mills.
Stranger Rudy Mills, wow.
Stranger is so slim, he's fantastic. I don't know how he manages, but he's still going.
Amazing.
You
Well,
know?
have fun and thanks again.
Yeah,
thanks
man.
again. And hopefully I'll see you soon as well. I'll see you on stage from a
Yes.
distance. But obviously it'd be lovely to hear more of your stories
Yes.
another time. Thank you.
Okay, well, keep the horse going.
Thanks, Susan.
And I wish everybody well, and thank you so much for having me, Laurence.
No,
and
thank you.
Kaisha.
Thank you.
Thank you.